two trucks, two completely different philosophies, and one question that could save you thousands of dollars. If you drove both of them for 300,000 miles, which one would still be running? The Hilux built its name on proven, long-term durability, decades of surviving conditions that would put lesser trucks in the scrapyard. The Ranger answers with modern engineering, real power, real technology, real capability that didn't exist when the Hilux legend was written. Old-school durability, modern engineering. That's the fight. So we're putting the Hilux and Ranger through the ultimate durability battle, and the winner may not be the truck you expect. And if you love trucks, hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell, because we're about to find out which one deserves the title of the ultimate long-lasting pickup. This isn't really about horsepower. It isn't about looks. It isn't about brand loyalty. It's about one question: which truck has the better chance of still being useful as the miles keep climbing? 6 rounds, one final test, and only one truck gets the 300,000-mile crown. Reputation. The Hilux didn't earn its name in a showroom. It earned it in mining operations, on remote farms, across brutal climates, in developing markets where a broken-down truck isn't an inconvenience, it's a crisis. Decade after decade, in some of the least forgiving places on Earth, the Hilux built a simple reputation: it doesn't quit. The Ranger took a different road. It evolved into a genuinely modern global pickup. Sharper performance, real comfort, serious technology, and increasingly impressive off-road engineering. This isn't a truck chasing the Hilux's legend, it's building its own. But when the question is raw, documented history of surviving extreme, sustained abuse, one truck simply has more evidence behind it. For decades of surviving abuse in some of the harshest corners of the planet, the first point goes to the Hilux. Hilux 1, Ranger 0. But 1 point doesn't win a 300,000-mile war. Engine and mechanical durability. Before we go further, a quick truth. Not every Hilux is built the same. Not every Ranger is built the same. Specifications shift by generation, engine, transmission, market, and trim. Keep that in mind. The Ranger deserves real credit here. Its modern engineering brings genuine advantages: stronger power, better efficiency, more refinement than older architectures can match. That's not nothing. But more sophistication tends to come with more sensors, tighter tolerances, and systems that need to stay precise for hundreds of thousands of miles. Certain Hilux configurations lean on relatively proven diesel architectures, engines with a long field record of surviving overloaded, underserviced use, far from any help. And this is where the Hilux starts building its case. Not because it has more power, not because it has more technology, but because, in certain configurations, there may simply be fewer complicated systems standing between the engine and another 100,000 miles. Round 2 goes to the Hilux. Hilux 2, Ranger 0. The Hilux is racing ahead early, but the Ranger is about to attack where modern engineering matters most. Off-road battle, mud, rock, sand, steep climbs, water crossings, heat, dust, broken roads, heavy loads. This is where trucks either prove themselves or don't. The Hilux is built for survival. The Ranger is engineered to perform. And out here, that distinction matters. Modern suspension tuning, advanced traction systems, purpose-built drive modes, sharper chassis engineering. In its performance-oriented variants, the Ranger can tackle high-speed desert terrain and technical rock crawling with a composure that older, simpler suspension setups just can't touch. This isn't the Hilux looking weak, it's the Ranger looking genuinely dangerous. Point: Ranger. Hilux 2, Ranger 1. And suddenly, the Ranger has pulled the score much closer than expected. 100,000/200,000, 300,000 miles. At 100,000 miles, the story is ordinary. Suspension bushings soften, bearings develop early play. Brakes and fluids need attention. Nothing dramatic, just the normal cost of putting miles on a truck. But what happens when the odometer doubles? At 200,000 miles, reputations start getting tested. Anyone can build a truck that feels great at 50,000 miles. The real question is what happens when the miles keep climbing and the repair bills start arriving. Transmission components, turbo systems, cooling systems, sensors, electronics, steering. This is where complexity starts to cost real money. At 300,000 miles, you're not buying performance anymore. You're buying survival. Here's the honest truth. Neither truck is guaranteed to get there. A neglected Hilux, run without oil changes and pushed past its limits, will fail like anything else. A properly maintained Ranger, serviced on schedule with quality fuel and sensible driving, can absolutely go the distance too. Maintenance, driving style, climate, load, towing, and service history matter more than the badge on the grille. But based on its longer established track record of extreme mileage survival, this round goes to the Hilux. Hilux 3, Ranger 1, Repairability. Your truck breaks down 500 miles from the nearest dealership. Which one would you rather own? The Hilux benefits from broad global parts availability, and in many configurations, a reputation for repairs that can be simpler to diagnose and perform than those on more electronically complex trucks. Out where help is hours away, that's not a small advantage. The Ranger counters with strong dealer networks and diagnostics that, when accessible, pinpoint problems with real precision. But that precision depends on access, and access isn't guaranteed everywhere. The point goes to the Hilux. Hilux 4, Ranger 1. At this point, you might think the Hilux has already won. But there's a problem: the surprise round. The Ranger isn't finished yet, not even close. More horsepower, a genuinely modern cabin, real technology, sharper handling, suspension engineering that, in the right conditions, simply outclasses trucks that haven't evolved as fast, and in its most performance-focused trims, off-road capability that rivals dedicated desert racing machines. Make no mistake, a properly maintained Ranger is not a compromise. It's a legitimately excellent long-term truck for anyone who services it right. Point: Ranger. Hilux 4, Ranger 2. 1 point. That's the entire margin left in this fight. The final 300,000-mile test. If you were forced to choose one truck today and drive it for the next 300,000 miles no matter the conditions, which one would you trust? Reliability: Hilux. Engine durability: Hilux. Off-road capability: Ranger. Long-term survival: Hilux. Repairability: Hilux. Technology and performance: Ranger. But here's where the numbers become misleading. Not every category carries the same weight. This entire battle was built around one specific question: long-term survival, not which truck wins every task on the list. Final verdict. And now, the final score. Hilux 4, Ranger 2. The Ranger won the categories that define a modern pickup: performance, technology, comfort, advanced off-road capability. The Hilux won the categories that matter most to this specific challenge: long-term durability, repairability, and survival in harsh conditions. So, for the 300,000-mile survival test, the Toyota Hilux takes the win. This is not a claim that every Hilux will outlast every Ranger. Real-world longevity depends on generation, engine, transmission, market, trim, maintenance, and how the truck is actually driven and used. A properly maintained Ranger can absolutely go the distance too. But when the question is simple, which one would you trust when the road disappears, the miles keep climbing, and help is nowhere nearby? The Hilux gets the edge. In the end, this wasn't really Hilux versus Ranger. It was simplicity versus sophistication. And simplicity won by the narrowest of margin. The Ranger might be the truck you'd rather drive every morning, but the Hilux is the truck you'd rather have when the road disappears, the miles keep climbing, and there's nobody around to save you. If you had to bet your next 300,000 miles on one truck, would you choose the Toyota Hilux or the Ford Ranger? Tell me why in the comments. If you enjoyed this battle, hit like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell, because the next truck comparison might just flip everything you think you know.